Hey, it's Don. I've got another video for you today. I've switched it up. You're going to see the repair probably on the next one, the repair of the box and cleaning up the hat. Just because it's so damp and the humidity is so high because it's been raining, you'll probably hear some thunder in the background while I'm filming this. It's been non-stop for like the last 2 or 3 days. We've had maybe 2 or 3 hours a day at best where it wasn't raining or just totally overcast. So anyway, I don't want to do that and not be able to spray it all at the same time. I hate to kind of break up all that. So we're going to wait on that video here as well, too. Again, I've shot part of it. I just don't want to rush anything and do it with bad weather. So what we got today is going to answer another question. And not only is it going to answer a question, it's going to show you some of the items and what we actually have bought when we first started. One of the questions was, what did I buy and sell before I got pickers and before I got all these good contacts? I'm going to show you today. I've showed some of it. I don't show much of this kind of stuff anymore because I don't pick up a lot of it anymore unless it's in big bulk sum. Just because right now I've got like 250 pounds worth, and we kind of estimated it by a couple box weights. I buy a ton of cheap stuff and small stuff. I bought a ton more when we first started, and we boxed it and listed as we could. And then we grew and grew and got so much inventory that I got a ton of back stock. So I've pulled out some random items of really cheap stuff. This is stuff that you'll probably find or run into. You may not know what it is all the time, but this is all good stuff here. And I'm going to show you just so you know that some of this stuff has been around for a long time. We've been doing part-time eBay for like 20 plus years, right? So let me just show you this. I know the green's probably going to be gone, but if you look at that, that's a Saver sticker from 10/6/2011. I bought this 3-cent token. Well, it's actually a 3-cent US coin worth like 25 or 30 bucks in the condition that it's in right here. So this is literally a 3-cent piece. It's a 3-cent nickel. I paid $2.99 for this thing here. It's a real good item here. You know, it's a quick 20 bucks, and this is from Savers. I've just thrown stuff in boxes for a long time. We sell the high dollar stuff. Something like this I probably got, I spent probably 150 bucks at Savers. We sold a couple things, probably got a couple $100 back, and this just sat there. If I don't sell it right away, no big deal. Coins I never worry about if they rush to sell. We're just going to show you some items here, cheap stuff. Again, this is showing you that this stuff does show up occasionally. We don't have any Savers. I don't even know if this is in a different city or not. It doesn't say a city, but more cheap items. This is a shot glass measure. One side, unfortunately, it's green, a really nice, beautiful green, and then the other side's a red. This is actually sterling with enamel. That's actually some kind of enamelized inside finish. It's marked sterling. Paid $1 for it. And again, I've had this for, God, months, maybe a year. And this is just back stock. Again, I have nothing into this stuff. This is just freebie stuff that when we get to it, we get to it. If not, the price will never go down in this. I'll at least get my money back plus sterling value. There's 2 ounces of sterling in this thing probably. So at the price now, it's $32. I'm not worried. I got $1 into it. So let me show you another piece here. This is another weird. I had something in it still. Oh, it's a baby's toy. It looks like a baby cup or something. Yeah, I would say that's what it is. It's got a birthday on here. Again, it's sterling here. It's well marked as well. I don't remember the exact marking on it, but it does have the sterling mark on it. I believe it was a British piece. In fact, it's right there. Well, I don't know how well you can see it, but it's on the little wire part right there. It literally is sterling. So anyway, this is another one of those dollar things. No idea where I even got this from at this point here. A lot of stuff. I've got treasures of stuff. This is probably $100 or better. You can hear the rattle. I'm assuming it's for a baby. I don't know who in their right mind would give it to a baby like this. Let's see what the date was. Let's see how old it is. 65. It's not even that old. Maybe that's not for a baby. I don't really know, but it looks like a baby. It actually stands up on the feet and the thing, and it stands up nice and even as well too. I've never seen anything like that, but I think it's a designer if I'm not mistaken. I vaguely remember finding other stuff like this online with a set or something. Again, this is cheap stuff. This is just some random junk. It was sold to me as not silver. They didn't see the mark. This one thing I say, you always carry a loop with you. Always, 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 always. I don't care where you're going. These are 2 pieces of sterling. And I got a big box just of sterling items, but for some reason these weren't in there. Again, I dumped out part of a box, just part of one box, and I got like 12 boxes. And I got like 12 boxes full, 14 cube boxes full of this kind of stuff. Just sitting here of stuff that I've purchased. Again, I am not hurting for inventory at all. Some of this I may have showed you like 6, 7 months, a year ago. I don't even remember at this point. Another toy. Now this one I might clean up here. It's got a little rust, but this is literally a miniature version. It unlocks the same way. You can take it off. Maybe even it's a salesman's sample. Usually what you find is just this part. I'm sure if it's in this box, I didn't pay more than $1 for it. Picker, a haul, a flea market or something. Again, I've gone to flea markets on my days off for 20 plus years, 30 plus years probably. I've seen or handled God knows how much stuff here. Let me move a few more things around. So everything I'm showing you is literally the type of stuff I purchased when I first started doing this. This is literally it. Clothing and books I did when we went full-time into this, but I've always done these type of weird little doodads on the side. See if I can show you this one here. This is... Oh, I can barely read it. Bardstown, Kentucky. Some kind of mansion. I probably should have had my loop here, but again, this is just something really cheap. Made in Japan, and it's got a company name on it as well. Stuff like this, if it's from a city or a place, this is like pot metal, like pewter that's been plated. So you can hear the thunder there, and my dog's going off. So anyway, they'll probably be barking for a minute. Not much I can do about that. I've tried to film on several other days, and it was even worse than this. The power went off and stuff. So anyway, this is the kind of stuff that I look for. This is probably a quarter or 50 cents. It's like a ring box or something you put on your counter or something. It's got many things going for it. So if you're out or something, look at stuff like this. Usually 50 cents or $1. I wouldn't hesitate to pay $1 for this. Maybe if it was a good one, for something even better than this, maybe a couple bucks at the most, maybe $2, maybe. But I almost always get them for $1 or less. A piano collector might want this, a jewelry box collector, a city collector, a Kentucky collector. It's got 4 or 5 different places you can list something like this in here. So that's another example. Let's see here. What do I got here? It's some kind of commemorative. Only a thimbleful. It's some kind of... Looks like it's from Georgia. Has it got any sterling marks on it? Again, I haven't seen some of these in a long time. They've been in boxes. And we've moved many times, so I've never rushed to get this kind of stuff out. I'll have to test this one here, but you know, a shot glass this unique, 15, 20 bucks. You know, it's probably something I paid a quarter for. Again, if it was worth some good money, I would have probably listed it. There's stuff in here worth $100 easy, but you know, like these 2 things are probably $100 easy a piece. You know, something like this, 20, 30 bucks maybe. This as a salesman's sample, if that's really what it is, which it looks like it very well could be. It's really heavy. It's cast iron, the bottom part, obviously. Maybe 75, 100 bucks on that too. Who knows? It's hard to say. Thimble-wise, as a shot glass, 20, 30 bucks. Again, this stuff is junk to most people. I run into these or used to at thrift stores when we went to thrift stores. It's got a tag on it. It was $8. This is a lucite cut one here. Mid-mod century, easy all day long. Nice piece. I probably paid 50 cents or a quarter. It's a rust too, rust berry. So it was probably sold like at a Hallmark or something in the 60s or 70s. Probably 10, 15 bucks as a lucite mid-mod century right there. 50 cents or less I probably paid for it. Local area piece. This is 1959, as you can see. This is probably a quarter or something. You know, I don't spend more than that no matter where I go. If it's more than that, usually I probably just won't buy it because I get so much of this. And I'm not trying to brag or exaggerate, but these little things are where I started off. I made a ton of money, and I still do, from all this little stuff. You know, this is something that, you know, looking into this to do this video, I realized I've got way too much of this kind of stuff. So we'll probably pull some of this out, and you'll probably see some of this listed and hopefully sold. Now, this is a golf tournament. Toledo Country Club's been fairly big. They have a Jamie Farr Classic, which is a nationally broadcast golf tournament with everybody who's everybody here. So again, this could be something. It's a golf collectible. So Let's move on from here. Now these I'm sure are reproductions. Pins are gone. They were cheaply done. People buy these for like reenactors to put in display cases or something. I'm sure I didn't spend much on these. I have a couple more I found too, but no sense in showing you a bunch of the same. People can cast these, and you can make your own version of these if you want. Somebody could take and cast wax and put puppy paws in there, or put the actual cheaper version for the cartridge box, because these can be used as cartridge box plates or a belt buckle as well too. So as it is here, it's probably from a reenactor's cartridge belt plate, because these solder on pieces aren't strong enough to be on a belt. Plus they're not configured right for that either. So I've had real ones of both of these on several occasions. The US one I've had dozens of. I've also had the Eagle breastplates many times over. These are all reproductions of Civil War items. One of the areas I've been very extensive in, I know one of the guys who wrote the book. I know people that go to the shows and festivals. I've conversed with North-South Traders Civil War, which is the magazine for the collectibles. I've actually metal detected many Civil War sites. So I know that area fairly well, in all honesty. So there's just a bunch of doodads in here. I don't even know what these all are. Here's a sterling little cross. Again, this is early. This is really early. This could be as early back as, looking at the screw back on this thing, as say 1880s or 1890s. I know this looks small. I know most people wouldn't think much of this, but in the like a Victorian era sterling cross, even of this size, I might get 15 or 20 bucks for it. This is probably something I paid a quarter for or less. This is just junk. Now this is, it's actually been, yeah, it looks like it's been resized. I would bet you $1 million this is handmade, either Mexican or Southwestern, could be Native American, but I'm not going to hold that to this at all. Sterling with actually inlaid stones. I'll have this tested here. Again, I get a ton of stuff, and I get it in bulk. I get it in mass quantity sometimes. I mean, 50 pounds of something. In fact, this looks like it's marked gold. Yeah, this is probably gold. It's pretty heavy, white gold or something along that line. Again, I just throw these in a box. Here is, that's gold filled. Here's something else too. What does this say? Royal Rangers. It's some kind of Royal Rangers emblem. Let's see, make sure you can see that. Get it a little closer. Royal Rangers there. That's pretty interesting. I'll have to look this one up, but it's probably military. Here's a bug. Maybe you can see that. It's like an iridescent stone. Rather interesting bug. It's missing a stone or two, but I've got box, like a big case of stones that I've saved from other pieces of jewelry. Whenever I get vintage jewelry in big huge lots, I'll save as much of the junk parts of it as I can, at least the stone parts, and the hooks, the clasps, and broken necklaces and stuff, because I can put stuff back together many times. I've got a jeweler's tool set as well, a little anvil and the whole works. Now here's another something that most people would think is nothing. It doesn't look like anything to most people. It's just a bottle cleaner of some sort. This is actually something you would buy. Let's see if I can get it in a recognizable shape a little better. Kind of hard to do that. It's some kind of fuzzy animal. I'm sure I've got it kind of configured wrong. Who knows what it is actually character-wise, but it's got a tag on it. These are Chanel, the Chanel bottle cleaner kind of style things, animals. It's even got a couple eyes on it if you can see them. I get 10 bucks for these on average. If you put them together in a lot, you might get more. If it was better condition, I may be able to figure out what this is and sell it for a little more. I don't know. I'll have to spend a few minutes looking this up. But again, this is something I probably got for a quarter or less. It's legit. This is 50s all the way. It's an animal. I'll just have to figure out what kind of animal it is. Anyway, that's just something that I would sell. I would make some money on that. Vintage scalpel. It's actually kind of sharp. That's probably like a bone or not bone, ebony wood handle. In fact, it's marked. Let's see if you can see the marking on it. Unfortunately, it's not the easiest thing to show. You can kind of see it right there. There you go. There you go. So anyway, that's another item. Some of these go for 15, 20 bucks. It's pretty heavy, so that's probably hammered steel or machine age steel of some sort. The blade. This could date back to the Civil War, so I'm going to look that maker up on here too. Again, I've had this stuff for a long time. Now this is oh shoot, I can't think of the name. It's a brownie, I think is what they are. That's a brownie on there. If you can see that. This is probably one of the, it's Palmer Cox that does the character. Look up Palmer Cox. Palmer, and then the last name is Cox. He has been around, his artwork for like 30 years across the board there. Very, very well known. This is probably one of the first comic book style characters you'll find. Let me pull it back, or pull it in, let me say, so you can see it a little better. I think it's going to center it on my face. There we go. There you go. So you can kind of see that. This is 1880s. This is a piece of promotional silverware. Now, this is something that I'll clean up. Again, I probably paid $1 or less for this thing. This could be worth $100. I don't know. I've never seen one of these before. Maybe I looked it up back then. I don't know. It's, again, just sitting in a box here for me right now. I'm just showing you stuff here, so we'll give you an idea on the stuff I found and still find when I'm looking for the cheapo stuff. This is stuff like from a antique mall, maybe, a Savers, a Goodwill, garage sales. This is a, let me see if you can see it, Maserati Ford pin of some sort. I'm guessing it's probably 60s or so by the construction and the style on it. Probably something like this I paid $1 for. I'm probably going to say 30 or 40 bucks on something like that. Here is sunglasses, sun goggles. I love eyewear and stuff, so this is something interesting. Probably didn't pay much for it. Yeah, you can see they're early, mod, mid-century. What color is the glass? They're green lenses on these. Green lenses. Very good when they have green lenses on them. They're early. May look cheap, but this is probably 10 or 15 bucks just for, you know, a collector of this sort of thing. So again, this is all cheap stuff. You know, I've made my living and started doing this by just buying junk like this. This is literally where I got my start into doing this stuff. These kinds of little tiny junk. Now this is, I think it's a wind-up, yeah. See if it still works. Oh, I don't know if it still works. Something like this. Believe it or not, it can be taken apart, and in many times I do fix these. If it's cheap and just not worth it, I won't mess with it. But if it's something good, this is something that you would sell probably to like a Barbie collector. This is probably from the 60s. You know, I'm surprised it doesn't have Hong Kong marked on it. In fact, maybe it does. Pantonic. I bet you can look this up and get a date from that marking on it as well, too. So, again, this is probably something I paid $1 for. You know, there's many things you can do with this. You can glue a magnet on the back and put it on the refrigerator like this as a refrigerator magnet. But people sell these. I could probably get $5 or $6 for this easy. Again, these aren't all going to be some big price thing, but this is cheap inventory that always sells. I wouldn't have to sit on that very long. Now, just like these. Now, this one here, when I got it, I shook it and it had something in it. There was gunpowder in this thing. I'm sure 100% that's what it was because I tested it. It was gunpowder in this pencil. No idea why. These are similar to like the bullet style pencils. In fact, I didn't check this one. Nothing in that one. The pencil comes out and there's actually a tube, as you can see here, and they come out that way. So these are usually pretty good items. There's some green on here, unfortunately, so you can't see it, but this is for a Grize Hybrids. It's some kind of feed company. Fremont, Ohio. This is a local small town at the time. These probably will get me 15, 20 bucks for these. In fact, I might have a couple more in here. I talk about pencils, so, you know, again, these are things that you're going to be able to find, you know, quite often. Estate sales for sure. Local auctions for sure. You know, if you don't have somebody to get you material, this is the kind of stuff you're going to settle with. I'm telling you right now. I could still make a living doing this kind of stuff. It's just more work than I'm doing right now. So, you know, it's just me cutting, you know, ties with some of these businesses and stuff. I don't do this kind of haul pretty much anymore. I found higher dollar places and stuff to go and people that hook me up more so than I've ever had before in my life. Our sales are through the roof, and no exaggeration. Let's see what this is. The Little Manual, Sacred Heart, some kind of religious book. And it's in a little leather case. And this is popular. This might have been like war era. I could probably look this up. Maybe there's some context to it, like a soldier style book. That's what you would expect from this. I probably paid $1 for this. Probably put 40 bucks, maybe 57.50. Don't be surprised if something like this actually sells for that, because this is the price I get for these miniature little books like that. I usually put most of these newer, cheaper looking ones like this without the leather for 30 or 40. You know, so again, this stuff is junk. This stuff is stuff that most people, like the boxes at just a junky flea market, the people that don't just know, that don't do just antiques. That's where you're going to find stuff. This could show up at the bin, the checkout, those little baskets at the counter at a Goodwill, at a Savers. Here is a sterling silver yo-yo. And I didn't even know it was sterling silver at first. I looked at this very closely for a few moments, and I think it was 50 cents. In fact, there's the mark on it there. There's a mark on one side. But again, stuff like this shows up. Didn't know there was sterling silver yo-yos. There are. I've seen them before. I've even had one or two once before. But that's just another example of what I find. Items like this. This is probably a thermometer, maybe. Yeah, it's a nurse's piece. This is 1910, 1920s, aluminum. Spiral cut. That's why I say this is 1920s, and you can tell too by the style of clip. They don't make these and have it for one heck of a long time. So again, these are key factors to ID stuff like this. What the clip and the chains look like too. You know, this is all the way 20s. I would say probably be my honest guess on that one. Even little things, and there's still a price on this one, 35 cents. So, you know, cheap, small stuff. This is an aircraft ruler. It's made out of very, very good quality material here, too. Something like this probably would go in the military section, $34.50. It's got a company manufacturer. It looks like a date of 1941. This could be from a military bomber or something like that. I'll have to look this up as well. Again, these are all cheap items. Shalom. Looks like a bottle opener. Most Hebrew or Jewish items I do very, very well in. You know, again, I'm guessing $1 or less for any of these kind of things. This is probably something I'd probably put $24, maybe even $34 on. It's gonna sell, I promise you. That kind of stuff always sells for us. People think these kind of things are just junk. It's Topps chewing gum. I don't remember what came in this one. I remember bones and stuff, and the wife said the same thing. They used to come with like bones and stuff, like sweet tarts or something. I don't think that's what this is, but Topps may have done that back then. I don't honestly remember. I know this is from my time because I remember seeing these types of things. Just this empty one, and if I've got 3 or 4 of these, something you might find in a bag for, you know, 50 cents or $1. They're empty. They're really super light. It just looks like a little junk can. But the Topps on there, that's Topps Chewing Gum Company. They make baseball cards and have for, you know, decades. You know, 4 or 5 of these I've sold many times over for, you know, 15 bucks depending on the day of the week. So it doesn't have to be anything you even think's worth something. Necklaces, chains, and this one's a very long one. These are actually preserved beads or seeds, I guess you could say, walnuts and pits and stuff like that. Again, some of these I've had. Maybe you've seen them. I doubt it, but this is something rather interesting. It's one long, like flapper style. These look early and old. They don't do this anymore. It's just nobody buys that. This is probably 30s or 40s. This is something I will probably put like 75 bucks on in maybe the folk art section, you know, and go from there. I know it's jewelry, but it's got hand carved, and that's brass. Some of these are hand carved. There's, oh geez, it looks like glass or something, maybe even some vintage lucite. I'll have to take another look at this, but again, this is something like this I pay $2 or less for. I never pay more than that on jewelry. This is all just thrown in a box. I know I should probably take a little better care of it, but I got nothing into it, so I'm not always as careful as I should be. Now, I remember getting these, so I know that these are jade. This is a nice jade. I think it's 2. Yeah, it's actually 2. These are real jade, actual cut stone, the whole works. I wish you could see the green, but with the green screen on, it's a little hard to see it. But again, jade. 2 necklaces here. These are early, too. These are fairly early, I would gather. I think there's 3 here. Maybe not. Again, these are cheap things. These are things that are going to cost you almost nothing. And, you know, 10, 15 bucks a piece for something like this. I don't even know if I can get these untangled. I don't want to waste your time just untangling something. Maybe it's a real long one single strand. It's getting to look like that. These are jade too. If you didn't know, jade comes in white. Yeah, I'm not going to mess with this and take up all your time in a video. Something like this, just for the beads and stuff, and being that it's jade, you know, 20, 30, 40 bucks maybe. Who knows? I've showed you these. I've sold probably 30 or 40 of these. 3-tine forks. This is Civil War era. No doubt about it. Sometimes they're marked. The marked ones can go for even more than that. $1 or less I usually pay for these. And sometimes I've walked up on a whole set of these, with knives and all. They do very, very, very well. So let me put some of this in here so we don't lose anything. Again, it's easy to do that when you got so much stuff. Let's see, I showed you that. I think I got a couple Pez's over here too. The one thing about Pez's that you need to know, and do I have another one sitting over here? Well, I had a couple of them. I'm going to show you a couple secret areas that I look for stuff in before the end of the video as well too. So just FYI. Unfortunately, this one's green. It's kind of interesting that it disappears like that, but let's set this one aside here. They're both the same. The one thing you'll notice about these, there's no feet. These are early ones. These are the ones you want. You want the ones with no feet. The newer ones have a flat base, so they stand up much easier. This is some kind of comic book character as well, too. You can look by the actual country of manufacture, and this is Austria, so it's a good one. There's a patent date on these as well, too. The patent date's fairly accurate on these. And this is a really nice one here. It's not maybe worth a ton of money, but 8, 10 bucks I would gather at the bottom end on these. Donald Duck, I've got one sitting over here too. Those go, again, 8, 10 bucks as well. If this is a specific character, maybe it's a Hanna-Barbera. I'll have to look at it a little closer. But again, I pay almost nothing for these. Those are all key items here. Let's see here. This one looks like a DAV tag of some sort, if you can see that. This one should do very, very well. I'm guessing this is World War II or maybe a little earlier, in my opinion. It looks like a 48-star flag on there as well, too. I would say so because of the way the rows are. So, again, this is something really good here, too. I've sold stuff like this for over 100 bucks. No exaggeration. So you got to look outside the box. These little tiny things. This is something that's going to be in a bin or a box or mixed up. You might even find something like this at a Goodwill. This is another vintage thing. This is a Roberts Golf, Perkins and Hayes, miles per gallon calculator thing. This is a Golf oil station, as you can see. 15, 20 bucks. No exaggeration. Golf oil, it's some kind of weird clip. I've had some like this before. They can pull off. I'm not going to do it because it's hard to get back on. But it's a keychain Golf oil. It's got the bubble on it as well, too. 10, 15 bucks. Here is a mother's pin. U.S. Air Corps. This is before we had an Air Force. It was the Army Air Corps is what it was on there. Is that upside down on you? No, it's right side up. Let's see if we can get it a little closer for you. This is a mother's pin. The soldier would bought it for the mother had bought it, you know, and worn it to be proud of their son in the military. This is 100% World War II. I get about 15, 20 bucks minimum for a standard one. This is U.S. Air Corps. Probably I'm going to put 34 to 57.50 on this, and it might even go for that on a good day. So, gold filled for sure. Early, nice piece, 50 cents or less, I'm guessing. Now, these I've always loved. I love the old vintage folk art dice. These are bone. Yeah, these are definitely at least bone, maybe even ivory. I'm thinking, yeah, bone. You can see the pattern in there. Yep, definitely bone on these. So let's see if you can... Let's see if we can get it so you can see them. Yeah, let me hold it like this. Let me do it like this. There we go. You can kind of see them. That's bone dice. Let's see if we can get it a little closer. Can you see the rings on a tree on it? You can really see it on, let's see, on this one here. That's what you look for in these early ones. Now those bone dice too, these are like Civil War vintage, would be my guess. Literally. These are early too. These are carved black walnut or something. Yeah, they're definitely wood too. I don't run into the wood ones like this very often. 34.50 on these. The 4 bone dice there, probably 75 bucks to start. I'll probably end up getting 30 or 40 bucks out of them, but you never know. Sometimes I do get 75 out of them. That's just a start here. Again, this is literally the kind of stuff I 100% lived on. Lived on. This paid our bills. And again, I've moved on just because I get bigger and better stuff nowadays. This is what you're looking for, this kind of stuff. And these kind of things I find all the time. These are new, old stock. 1950s. Let's see if you can see them. I'm not going to open them up because they're sealed, believe it or not. Let me get myself out of there and you should be able to see them. These are tiny miniature cans. I think they say Japan on the piece too, because they do have a fancy little hook on the back. Yeah, Japan. So these are 50s or 60s. Got to have a Fanta. 17, 18 bucks a piece is average on the Fanta ones. Now, the better brands like Pepsi and Coke go for way, way more than that. So, you know, you can make some good money on stuff like that too. Here's a box, and I had to cut it open just to see what was in it. I thought it was going to be something else. It's just a bunch more little tiny pieces of collectible stuff. What is this? Again, I'm seeing this first time for a long time. I haven't had these out of a box in a long time. Deputy Sheriff, what is that? I'll show you in just a second here. Some kind of, it's a railroad police badge of some sort, it looks like, from Sandusky, Ohio, so like Cedar Point area for those who know what that is. This is tiny. This is something that goes for about 7 to say 15 bucks on a good day. This is a threader. Again, so if you see, there's a little tiny wire up there. You put the thread through it. First you put it through the needle, and then you put the thread through it. And when you pull it through, it pulls the thread through. It's got instructions on the back too. If it's a good one for something even better advertising than this, they can go for some good money, 30, 40 bucks. We talk about vintage Disney pins. This is a vintage one from the time I worked there from the 90s, so I'll have to look this one up, but some of these can go for some really good money. Let's see here. Now, this is an early pin. This is, maybe it's a German heraldic pin of some sort. It could be a military pin. I don't know. This is really early, though. Crudely constructed. It may be silver. Again, these are the type of things I look for. This is just, oh, it's signed. I'm not going to show you the common stuff in here. It looks like it's actually marked gold. I'll have to look this up. This could be like a real diamond ring. Again, I get stuff in bulk, so I'm never in a hurry or rush on stuff like that. I'll have to look this. I'll set this one aside. Again, you've got me interested in what I had in boxes now, so I'll be going through some of this and maybe listing it just to pull some out. Again, I put stuff aside all the time. These little pins like this, 10, 15 bucks. Here is a, this looks like, I would gather this is probably 17th century or 18th century, I guess you would say. Early enamel, very early. No idea what it is. Maybe some kind of button. Really interesting. I'll have to look this up too. There's just all kinds of little doodads and knickknacks that I buy. Little tokens, trade tokens always go. Little sterling salt spoon, 10, 15 bucks minimum. Sterling handle that they've turned into some kind of ring. You can see it there. A ton of little tiny jewelry pieces in here. Even earrings. Some of these are, yeah, this one's marked too. It almost says sterling. There's a mark. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it. Probably not at all. It's marked in a very inconspicuous place, way back in here, even underneath the flap. There's actually a mark. It looks like it says sterling, but without my loop right handy. Let me see what else I got in here. There's a Tire Club pin. Tire a Day Club. Let me get some of these up in front of me. Tire a Day Club. Oh, let's see if we can get you to see it. There you go. That's better there.